Hi, welcome back. My name is Mike Severin. This is Art and Soul. It's a new show that I've started doing here in the Salem area, and last week we did a little pilot show, and so today is really the first show to begin the series, and I'm excited about it. There's lots of possibilities, and it's a great opportunity for me, and hopefully through maybe what I can show you today and through the course of the weeks and months, it'll be a help to you and maybe learning some techniques and some things about oil painting. But along with that, hopefully this show will give you some inspiration, give you some things that make you want to go, man, I'd like to try that myself. And like I said last week, it has nothing to do with painting. It could be you like pottery, or maybe you're doing stuff with metalwork, or maybe it's beads, all sorts of different things. I think it's just really important that everybody has some sort of a creative outlet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going through kind of what we're going to be doing. And this episode is just the first of probably 2 or 3 shows for me to complete the painting. I work in oil paints, and I do that for a number of reasons. The main reason is because I like the dry time. It takes a lot longer for the paints to dry, and in that it gives me a chance to manipulate the paint, move it around a little more freely on the surface. Maybe that you like that, maybe you like acrylic paints, maybe you're into watercolors. And those are all things that we're going to be exploring in the course of this show. Today I'm working on masonite, or another name that they use at Home Depot and Lowe's is hardboard. I use that as well as canvases, but I use hardboard a lot just because it's inexpensive. It's a great surface to work on. It's very smooth, not a lot of tooth to it, and I just buy a sheet of it. A 2x4 foot section is about $6, and I just take it home, cut it down to the size that I want to work with. Today it's 16 by 20, and put a little coat of primer over the top of it, sand it down, and I've got a nice surface that's great and ready to work with. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start a painting of a sea turtle, and what it will be is it'll be under the surface, and it'll be a swimming sea turtle that we're going to be painting. What we're going to concentrate on today is getting the background in, and as we start developing it, I think you'll see kind of where we're going with it. And I'm working with some different colors today. Phthalo blue is what I'm working with, phthalo green, white, titanium white, and then I'll be using some burnt sienna here in a little bit as well when we start in on the turtle itself. So without too much time wasted here, let's get to doing some painting. I got a big old 3-inch brush. This is just one you can buy at Home Depot as well. I use these cheap brushes. I mean, I've got expensive brushes and I've got lots of them, but I find that I use the cheap ones as much as I do the expensive ones. I don't feel quite as bad about beating them up, and when they get all frilled out, I'm only out a couple of bucks. So anyway, we're going to start out with phthalo blue, just straight phthalo blue. What we're going to be doing here is I want this section up here to be light, and then the rest of this, the back, the ocean. The ocean is so beautiful, and I don't know if you've done any diving or not, but it is the colors that you see after you begin diving are just incredible, and colors that just have a different tone to them completely. They just show a lot more brilliant. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm not being real careful here. I'm just slapping some paint down on the surface here. There's a gentleman that's maybe you've seen his work, he's known for painting a lot of undersea scenes with dolphins and porpoise and a lot of different sea creatures and sharks, etc. But he's very, very well known for his paintings, murals that he does on the sides of buildings of killer whales, and he does this technique quite a lot in his painting. Now, what I'm going to do is I've got, you can see the phthalo blue, very strong, deep color there, and on top of that, I'm just going to put just a little band here of the phthalo green. And if you've never used phthalos, they're just brilliant, and you'll see here in a minute why I like using them. The colors that they bring out when you bring the white into it is just incredible. So we have this basically this deep, dark, rich color that's in the back there. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go with straight titanium white. And I don't want this to be centered. I want it to be just off of center here. And we're just going to smear on a whole bunch of white paint. You can do this with a paint roller for that matter. So as we go across here, this is going to be where the light is, the sun is penetrating the surface of the water. And we're going to extend this out a little bit farther, and as you can see what happens when that white hits that color, how it changes. And it's just, I absolutely love seeing it come together. As you can see here, I just want to work that farther out, so that it gets darker the deeper back in the ocean it gets. And I can see now I'm going to need to add some more white paint because I did not put enough out. You'll find that in this show, a lot of people have told me that oil painting is, it's so expensive. And I mean, yes, if you go out and buy all of this stuff, it can be expensive. But there's lots of ways that you can cut corners and accomplish the same thing with a little bit of money. It was just kind of like this easel. I was needing an easel for the show, and I thought, man, I don't have $300 to go out and buy a new easel. So I said, I'll make one. So that's what I did. So this is an easel that I just made out of some scrap wood in a couple of days, and it works great. I love it. And the same with the paintbrushes, same thing. So as you can see here, now I'm just going to take, and I just want to blend this out. There we go. I want to make this just a little less intense with the light coming through. But I don't want to kill all of my darks. I don't want to kill the dark at all. That looks pretty good. I think I want to take and put a little more white yet up there at the top. There we go. That's looking a little better. There's all sorts of grades of paints too, and you know, the more expensive the paint, usually the higher percentage of pigments that are in it, and you use less paint. So those are usually expensive, but you know, you can go get a student's grade level paint, and they work just as well. You just might use a little more paint than what you would if you went with a professional grade level paint. So as you can see here, we've got kind of a deep ocean scene. You've got where the sun is coming through the surface of the water here. And now we need to position where we're gonna put our turtle. And there's lots of ways of thinking about it, and there's lots. I went through a lot of different turtles online, pictures of turtles. I love having Google images. You can go through and find the image that you like, or maybe create it out of your own head. But I found one that I really particularly liked, and that's what we're going to be using for this painting. I did a painting of a sea turtle here a while back, a couple years ago now, I suppose, and I used a very similar image for that as well. Before I start in on that, I'll show you what I've done. I'm taking a little bit of a because that's all wet, and I don't like working wet on wet very much. I do occasionally, depends on what I'm after. This is one I did at home. A little different as far as darkness. It's a little darker, and I didn't do anything down here in the corner because I'm going to actually be putting in a little bit of the bottom of the ocean there. So I want to talk briefly about some composition, how I go about figuring out what I'm going to, how I'm going to position whatever the subject is in the painting. A lot of people don't know a whole lot about it, and their paintings don't necessarily look quite right just because they've done so much, they've done it incorrectly. Your eye will pick up on things automatically. If I took and put the turtle up here, it's going to be funny with nothing down here. Or same up here. Any of the medias do this, working what they call the thirds. We do it here in the studio as well. But we want it so that the eye is comfortable and the brain is formulating it, going, that's exactly what I'm wanting. So what I've done here is I've already sketched out a little bit of the outline of the turtle. The turtle actually is sitting about here, and you'll see it as I start painting it. I don't want him too far over here. I don't want him too far here, up or down. I want him to position where he's just about right there, just below the center line, and he extends farther out. It just makes sense for the eye. You want your paintings, whatever you're doing, to where your eye focuses in. It comes in to the subject that you're highlighting. So anyway, that all being said, let's kind of throw some paint down and start putting our little sea turtle in place. I was talking a little bit ago about, the people. This is just plain burnt sienna, and I'm just going to basically block in the turtle, and then we can start developing him from there. I started to talk a little bit ago about using what you've got for tools, and for what you've got, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of money to go out and get some things that you want for your life or for painting or anything for that matter. And it kind of reminds me of a story. I was at, what do they call it, Gateway Park, there by the airport one afternoon, and sitting there having lunch, and I was watching a bunch of these guys are coming in with all of their fancy fishing equipment, and they had, these expensive rods and these tackle boxes full of all sorts of stuff and all of the equipment to make them successful fishermen. And I'm sitting there watching this all kind of happening, and I noticed this guy that came walking along, and he looked like he was homeless. He had this backpack on, and he was not well kept. And he comes walking along, and he's just kind of watching everybody as they're fishing, and he walks over and he finds himself a spot on the bank, and I just kind of lost track of him for a minute, and I looked back over and I saw him pulling stuff out of his backpack. And he pulls out a beer can, and I kind of chuckled to myself, well, he's going to sit there and watch everybody fish today while he's sitting having a beer. But it was funny because I noticed as he's working that there's a line that's wrapped around the beer can. He's got a weight on there and a hook, and he ends up baiting up the hook, and he takes and does a little thing with his hand, and he sets the hook flying out into the pond. The beer can is spinning in his hand. He cast as far as these guys with their fancy fishing poles and equipment. He's casting it out there as far as they are. And I'll be, if that guy did not catch as many fish as the rest of the guys along the bank. He brought in 2 or 3 of them. And I was so impressed by that because, a lot of times in life, we take and go, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the equipment. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't know the right people to accomplish what I want to do. And it's easy to go, I'll just give up. It's no use. But if you want to do it bad enough, there's a way that it can be done. Just like that guy casting out his line on a beer can. If he can do that, you can do what you're trying to accomplish too in your life. And I am so big on that. We find so many excuses, I think, in life and things that discourage us, and that's unfortunate because it robs us of really accomplishing some really neat things in our lives. And you never know what opportunities can come up by just taking and expanding your horizons a little bit there and thinking outside of the box. And once again, I can't do close-up work with my glasses on, so I always have to throw them off. So I'm working here. You can see I'm not doing anything fancy with the turtle. All I'm doing basically is just blocking in the outline of them, and then once we've done that, then we can start doing a little bit more with developing them. Life is just, sometimes it's very frustrating, and that's the reason why I really like having an outlet for me being the painting, just because it's a way for me to escape kind of the stuff that's going on in life, and that can be overwhelming at times, and that's one of the reasons why I love encouraging people to be creative and find an outlet for themselves, because I think that it will help in every aspect of your life. It keeps you fresh. It gives you a fresh perspective on things. So as you can see, I haven't done anything special. Basically, I've just thrown in an outline of them. So what we need to be thinking here is, as we begin, now that we've blocked them in, we need to kind of be doing some thinking. Now, where are light sources coming? What's going to be highlighted? Where the main colors are going to be shown? And I'm going to make this sea turtle, I'm going to make him a little bit brighter than what they are. There's all sorts of different degrees of lightness and color, and I'm sure it has to do with the sex of the turtle, etc. And I'm no turtle expert, but I'm sure that there's somebody out there that will probably give me some insight as to why turtles are different colors. The thing I do know is that no matter where you're at, if you're under the water, the colors are going to be a whole lot more vibrant and vivid than what they are if they're on the surface. So I know that this here is his, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of a highlight here just because I wanna be able to show a little closer what the structure is. So this obviously is his front fin. I'm assuming they call them fins. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a turtle expert. His shell comes around here. And then you've got the back fin there, but the top of his head is across here, as you can see. And then his back would be, this fin is going to extend up farther. So it's right there. So we need to make sure that we get those things aligned right so that it looks right. And then you've got this rear fin, and it actually will set back from that shell a little bit there. So as you can see, we've got pretty good at least start on an outline of the sea turtle, and you'll see that you'll have a lot of darkness that's or the shadow side of him down below. So we'll do some more when we get to that. And in oil painting, in acrylic painting, as opposed to watercolors, you work from dark to light, and that's watercolors. It's the opposite of that. You work from light to dark because you're trying to maintain the paper surface. But like I said, in the oils, we're wanting the darkest down here of the turtle, and we're kind of running out of some time here now, and I won't go any farther with it. We'll hit it again next week, but we'll be taking and putting in, all of the little. They've got these little compartments, if you want to call them that, or little sections, of their shell, and we'll go through all of that as we get farther into the show next week. I want to leave you with this, though. This happened to me very recently, and I've had some rough times in the last couple of years. But it was one of those moments where I was trying to get across town to a place I'd never been before, didn't have some good directions, and so I pulled out my phone, punched in the address on it on the GPS, and I pushed the send button. And the thing is spinning round and round on the screen, and it says, "Searching for your location." And it kept going and kept going and kept going, and suddenly it hit me. Oftentimes in life, that's exactly what's happening. We've planned our life out, we've plugged in the information, we've made a plan to go forward, but you don't know where you're at. That GPS couldn't tell me where to go because it didn't know where I was at. You can have all the maps in the world in front of you, but if you don't know where you're at, you can't go anywhere. So I think what I want to leave you with today is find out who you are. Connect with who you are. And if you will do that, then you can go forward. You can make progress in your life. Those obstacles that are in your way, you'll know how to get around those obstacles or get over the top of those obstacles. And sometimes always the fastest route is not necessarily the shortest route. And I think a lot of times we get kind of mixed up with that in our lives too. We try to find the fastest route, and that's not necessarily the best route for us. So take your time, find out where you're at in life, who you are as an individual, build on that, lay out a map in front of you, and you can go forward and accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. This show, yes, it's about painting, and we'll get more into that as the weeks and months go on. But I want you to know that this is as much about you and inspiring you to make you feel good that you can go out and accomplish anything. For me, it happens to be the painting, and that's great, but for you it may be something else. Like the turtle, and I have this on my signature on all my emails, it says, "Behold the turtle. He only makes progress when he sticks his neck out." A lot of times it's easy to cower down, stick our head inside of our shell, and we don't want to stick our neck out. But you're never going to move unless you stick your neck out and go forward. You'll do it. I believe in you. I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to have you come back, tell your friends about me, and hopefully over the next week you can be inspired to do whatever you want to do. Thank you again, and have a great day.